Back to get some stories from comedians. This is the interesting project. Joined by
Ramsey Smith,
Ramsey. Okay, so comedians are good storytellers. Do you agree?
allegedly, sure.
Allegedly? Okay, yeah. What story do you have for me?
I've got a bunch of different ones about being a kids entertainer. So I'm a children's entertainer. It's like it's a rough gig. Just get a lot of the comment. Kids will just say weird stuff for no reason, and you just roll with it. So, happened recently. I was at a party, and then midway through, like I'm doing my whole show, kid reaches up in my belly, and he goes, "There's a baby in there." Which is wrong on a couple levels. First of all, I'm a man. I was also dressed as Optimus Prime, who was a robot. So he was also male, but even if it was a female robot, can't get pregnant.
That's true.
So the kid's dumb. That's what I'm talking about. What else?
Do you ever feel like just
Hitting the kids? Hell yeah, of course. Yeah, when they objectively deserve it, which is like, you can tell the difference between a kid that's like, they're kids and they're like energetic, and then you can see when a kid is like, got that evil look in their eye, and they know what they're doing is like,
What's that evil look?
I don't know, it's like, it's when they're aware of the pain they're causing you. Because a lot of the annoying things kids do are they're not aware, like socially, but then you'll see an occasional kid who will like look at you and will understand that what they're about to do is cause pain.
And they're like,
They enjoy watching me struggle. Because I guess I'm on a level there, I'm there to entertain and do like a job, and try to get all the kids engaged. And if the kids are just wild, that's fine. But sometimes there'll be one kid who will clearly see I'm trying to perform, and like, if I can derail this guy's day, it's like they know it's going to affect.
It's like a heckler.
Yeah, it's like a heckler. It's exactly. It's like a heckler.
You got heaps of practices.
Yeah, but you can't tell the kid to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You can tell a heckler to shut the fuck up. I mean, you can tell a kid to shut the fuck up, but you shouldn't, or else I won't have a job. What else? I've been hitting the balls at least 3 times. It's also just like the height there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so like they're right there.
So is it accidental or not? They're going for the balls.
No, they're pretty much going for it. They're going to punch anything, and it's there. Some kids are violent as hell.
I'm just like, what are the parents doing this?
Sometimes they don't care. Especially out in like Bankstown and stuff, like out west, and they're like, "Oh, look, this guy, he's a fighter, mate," The kid's just hitting like, "Why is this okay?" Yeah. I see kids just hit other kids in full view, and some parents are like, "No," and then sometimes they're like, "It's the law of the jungle," and they want their kid to be the strongest, so they're like, if the kids are punching each other, it's alright. Especially when they're like their cousins and stuff.
Yeah.
Because they'll just have that violent, and you're like, I don't know if I should step in here. Sometimes, all you can say is stop.
It's for you to get entertained.
I know, exactly. Well, I mean, you do enjoy watching a kid. There's nothing better than watching a particularly disruptive kid, and because he's being disruptive, like just get sidelined by another kid, like just head clashes, when you don't like the kid already, it's nice to watch.
Okay. Well, with being a kid's entertainer, do you enjoy it?
At a level, yes.
What got you into that?
I moved to Sydney, so when I was just before I turned 19, and I wanted to do like acting stuff. So I went on the like casting website, and they had the ad for this job. And I was like, it seems like good money. So yeah. So I'm there, cool. And then a casting website, yeah. It was literally like, and it was good money. So I'm like, cool, let's do it. It'll be a good bit of money. And then
I want to talk about comedy.
Yeah, let's do it.
When did you start?
I started in, I would be 20, it's about a year and 8 months ago. A year and 7 months. So like at the start of 2022, I technically had my first gig at the end of 2019. I did like 2, quit for like a year, did 1, did like maybe 3, like over the space of 2-3 years or whatever. Yeah.
What
I met
sort of-
Lachlan when he was starting out.
Oh.
It's crazy, you know.
Giving you that side eye.
I know.
Um,
he's,
What sort of got you into it? Like, why
I was always more of a. So I guess growing up, I was into playing footy and stuff, but I felt like a bit. It was always like socially awkward. Like, you know, like I'd have a hard time having a engaging conversation. Like if I was having a conversation with someone and they weren't laughing and they weren't like telling jokes during it, then I would feel uneasy about the conversation. I mean, like that's how I would always get my read on people.
Yeah.
So if I can make them laugh, that's all how I would like fit in, I guess. So there's a certain level of that, and then I went into year 11, 12. I started doing drama, just with school, which was really fun. But I was never into more of the like high like acting, like that sort of like pretentious-y sort of vibe. But I just want to be funny.
Yeah.
Make people laugh. So then, finishing school, I was like, all right, what am I doing? I guess I'll go into acting. And then I'd always been into stand-up. I remember I'd have a surgery on my arm when I was about 14, and I had like it was like a pretty like had like big screws in it, the whole plate, the whole thing. So I wasn't able to do sports or anything for like 9 months, almost a full year. So I remember just one day just being like, what can I watch? And just getting mad into stand-up. So I watched a bunch of like all of Louis C.K.'s stuff at the time, a bunch of Bill Burr, Jim Jeffries. So that was the first time I was like exposed to stand-up. Like that was awesome. And then I think there was obviously something in my brain that ticked it off. I wanted to do it. So then yeah, I always sort of had that. Obviously, sort of end of 2019, tried a couple of gigs, bombed my ass off. Got terrified. I'm sticking to acting. This is so much easier. Fuck that. And then it was when Norm Macdonald died, who I'm a really big fan of, when I was like, all right, I'm going to give stand-up a proper go. So sort of him dying, and I was like, all right, I want to give it a proper go. Then I sort of started coming to open mics, you know, like all the open mics, grinding it out. I guess that's my comedy story.
I have talked to other comics before,
Yeah.
and they've said that. I mean, I feel like every comic has a dark side to them.
Oh yeah,
Do you agree?
100%, yeah, of course.
What's your dark side?
What's my? Oh, where do we start? You know, I've tried to kill myself before. You know.
Hold on, let me figure out how to go about this now.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. You know.
Are you called it a short to share that story?
Yeah, of course. I'm pretty much. It was like 17 years old. It was like very socially awkward. Like I wasn't very good with girls and stuff. And then ended up talking to this one girl for a little while. And like, you know, in like a 17-year-old, 16-year-old mind, you're like way too obsessive. Like I went way too into her. She wasn't into me anymore. You know, like killed me for a little bit, you know what I mean? Like just crushed me like every day. It was like all I thought about. It was a dark time. I don't remember a lot of it. I also think because I was playing footy and I used to get concussed every single week. So I think it was a sprinkle of CTE, sprinkle of regular like teenage angst, and also like a bit of social awkwardness on top of it. And then one night at a party, I'd never drunk before, and then one night at a party when she was like, so I was like too obsessive. Talked to her like way too much, got way too in. She was a bit freaked out. Completely fair enough. I was a fucking dumb cunt at the time, you know. So she was like completely off me, didn't want to talk to me, which is completely fair in hindsight. But I'm like, don't even know what I'm gonna do. So I went to this party, got super drunk, was constantly joking around that I was going to kill myself. With like all my friends, I'm gonna fucking kill myself, and they're like, shut the fuck up. So yeah, super drunk, forget most of the night, and I remember being out. It was in like this big property, at a mate's big property on like a farm-ish land. So I went like out the back at one point as the party sort of like, I guess, dying down or in like the later stages, and I just found a rope on the ground. I'm like, alright, I'm gonna fucking yeah, now's the time. Let's go. You know, in my drunk mind, I'm like, I'm done. I'm constantly like, you know, just thinking about how much I hate, you know, being alone and all that. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. I was too drunk to tie fucking loose. And I mean, I tried. I didn't really plan it out. It was kind of a bit of a half-hearted one, but I think meaningful in myself, you know, and what I was doing. And then, okay, this is funny. So I'm walking back. I've got the road behind me. I'm obviously drunk as fuck. And then two friends, you know, two people I know from school were like walking up, and they were like, "Oh, Ramsey, how are you going?" Because I've also been acting a fool this whole party. It's like, "Oh, hey, Ramsey, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm gonna kill myself in like fucking Ramsey classic," and they're like, "Oh, what the fuck is that? It's a rope," and they took it away from me. And then I remember waking up hungover as fuck. I lived home, you know. A couple of good mates all like checking up on me. They told my parents, I assume, because my parents knew somehow. Like, I think I knew who told them. And then I sort of isolated myself for a bit. I was just like working out a lot, and then sort of that was sort of at the end of the year, at the end of the school year, the whole summer, basically being by myself. But then sort of a week after, I came back to school. I think I hadn't seen anyone for a while. It was like, it was a weird disconnect, and then eventually started talking to my mates, like, oh, everything's kind of back to normal. I'm going to continue on with what I'm doing. And here I am today.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, just to finish this off then, is there a lesson that you could share from
A lesson?
What did you learn from that?
If you're going to kill yourself, do it sober so you get it done right. Don't kill yourself. Just, I don't know, find some balance in your life. I think what I was lacking was balance. So whatever you're doing, you need that balance in your life.
Balance of what?
Balance of everything. I don't know, I think at the time, now I'm going into it more, I was really into footy. I remember, is this going to go on for a bit longer? It's alright, okay, cool. I remember at about 13, 14, I just started getting like good at playing footy. My first 2 years I was shit, and about under 13s, I just, you know, played pretty well. Got like best and fairest, which, you know, it was like country rugby league, but that's important to me as a fucking under 13s best and fairest. And then I was like, all right, I don't fit in with people. Like I've said it as like, I feel like, less now, I've worked on it more, but as a kid I was like, oh, it seems like everyone else like has got like a handbook on how to interact socially, and I missed out on that. That's what I felt. So when I was like about 13, 14, like, I'm going to become a professional NRL player, and that's going to be my one mission in life, and I'm only going to care about that, and that's going to carry me through everything. So I was hyper fixated on that, and sort of like, yeah, like, had my friends still, but kind of, yeah, hyper fixated on that. Didn't really get a lot of like socializing done outside of school. I would skip parties. So I'm like, no, I'm grinding, bro. Like, I'm waking up tomorrow at 4, and I'm going for a run, then I'm going to the gym, then I'm doing agility work, then I'm coming home, doing whatever. So then there was a lot of that, and then isolating myself, feeling bad, and then, yeah, this one girl comes along, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, I can have one person. You know, I can have one person, and she's going to fix everything socially. I feel like because I lack that balance, that's what kind of tipped me over the end.
I'm joined by
Lachlan.
Lachlan. All right, Lachlan. So, allegedly, comedians are good storytellers.
Yeah.
What story do you have for me?
I don't have any story. What, I have to tell a story?
Yeah, I've already prefaced you 5 minutes ago.
I got no idea, man. What are you talking about?
I want a story from you.
Story? What kind of story do you want?
It's completely up to you. Funny, sad, serious?
Actually, can't think of one. I'm sorry.
No.
Fuck. Oh, yeah, I caught the bus once.
Mm-hmm.
You guys like the bus?
The bus is good.
Yeah, I got on the bus, and then there's a Chinese couple. Not that it matters, by the way. I'm cool with everyone. There's a There's a couple of chinks on the bus, right? I get on. It's right outside my house, and then this guy like collapses on the ground, and then there's like this Chinese lady like screaming like "danyowa, danyowa, danyowa." Bro, she's with her husband. Dude just had a heart attack, and he's like passing out. Right? He's fucking dying. And then, yeah, I just like stand there because I'm still like trying to find a seat. So I just stand there and stare as this dude is dying, and his wife is like over him, like screaming. She's like slapping him and shit. And then, so you got to call the ambulance, right?
Yeah.
I get on the phone, man. Bro, these cunts, they want to ask all these questions and shit. You know, I'm watching this guy die in front of me, and I'm screaming at the lady on the phone. Like, I need an ambulance at such and such. I need an ambulance. And then she's like asking me all these fucking stupid questions. So I just hang up on the bitch. And I watched this guy. I saw someone else was calling, so then I just watched him die.
He died.
Yeah, he died. Yeah.
On the bus.
Yeah.
How like between once he hung up, how long did he have after that?
It was probably like, I mean, he was passed out. Like I think he was like dying. Someone needed to do CPR, but it was like COVID and stuff, so I didn't want to touch him.
Yeah. Did you find a seat in the end?
Huh?
Did you find a seat in the end?
I watched the man die.
Yeah, but like,
You think this is funny?
All right, no, but so you watched him die, but what did you do afterwards? Like,
I got off the bus and I didn't tap off, so I got double charged.
that's the worst part of the story.
It's bullshit, man.
Man, fuck.
Yeah, that's it.
That was a good story.
Thanks,
Thanks
man.
for calling Lachlan.
Shout out to the Indians.
I'm joined by.
Bobby Sandu, always shaking hands.
It's professional stuff,
It is,
man. It's a
it
proper
is.
interview. All right. So, what story do you have for me?
I've been in the States a while. One of my first weeks there, I was downtown Austin, getting fucked up, just drinking a bunch. I bought a cowboy hat, it was way overpriced, and I should have Ubered home. They tell you, they're like, look, Austin, don't walk around at night. You know, a lot of people around that could fuck you up.
Yeah.
But I decided I wanted to come home on one of them e-scooters.
Mhm.
So I jumped on an e-scooter. It was a good 30-minute ride. So I'm fucking winging this thing, like riding like straight at walls and then cutting away last minute and just having a blast. And I got about halfway through and the thing ran out of juice. So now I'm on foot. I'm like, I don't want to pay for an Uber because I've already paid the equivalent for the e-scooter. And as I'm walking, I see in the distance there's a junkie and he has a knife about yay big strapped to his leg. And he's got two bikes. So as I get close to him, he goes, hey, do you want to buy a bike? I'm like, this is perfect. Like, the Lord has sent me a fucking, the answer to my troubles. And I was like, sweet, yeah, how much? He's like, $10. I was like, wow. I was like, fuck, what if I want to buy the knife as well? So I ended up giving him $20, and he sold me the bike, the knife, and a bit of weed.
That's a bargain.
A great bargain.
Is he home?
I got home, had the knife, I was safer.
What'd you do?
I looked up the laws in Austin, and it was like there's a 9-inch limit on knives for children.
Okay.
So if you're a child, you can carry around a 9-inch knife. If you're an adult, you can have a sword. You can open carry 2 AK-47s, totally fine.
And this was in Austin?
This was in Austin.
What were you doing in Austin? What were you
I do jiu-jitsu.
Professional?
Trying to be. I coach now, so my sole source of income is coaching.
Mhm.
There's not much money in competing, but yeah.
How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu for?
8 years.
What sort of got you into that?
I never played sport or anything in school, and one day I saw a fight between two football players. I'd never really seen like too much violence in person. I just realized I was very unprepared for that situation. Like if someone very athletic took a swing at me, there's nothing I could do about it. So I was like, this is not a new problem. Men have had this problem for a long time, So jiu-jitsu was, I went home, I looked up the deadliest martial arts.
Oh, okay, that's
Like-
why it's...
Number one was ninjutsu. So I thought I'd be a ninja. I rang up a ninja school and they're like, how old are you? I was like 14. They're like, it's too deadly for a 14-year-old to do this. And I started a local MMA school and I realized I was never going to get good at MMA. It takes a very special person to get good at MMA, but
What do you mean by that?
to be like in any of the standing martial arts, because you're up on your feet and you can turn your hips explosively. Anyone who can generate a lot of kinetic force can really fuck you up. Like they can launch you in the air and stuff. But jiu-jitsu, because it's on the ground, even if you take a bull and you put it on its back, a single person can now brand a bull. So because jiu-jitsu is all about taking people to the ground, most people, even if you're older or weaker or women, whatnot, you can get pretty good at jiu-jitsu and strangling them. Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, what's something you've learned? Like, martial arts teaches you life lessons,
Yeah.
right? Can you tell me something you've learned from that?
Just the value of sticking with something over a long time, Like, I think failure is not durable. Like, if you're willing to put up with enough failure and boredom, you're bound to just get better at things. If you do anything for 10 years, unless you're like retarded, you're gonna figure something out eventually.
Yeah. Okay. And you've been in fights before?
Like street fights?
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah. I used to work security for a long time.
What's the difference between a street fight and then a competition fight?
Just more variables, Like before you go into any kind of like martial arts context, it's predetermined. Like, okay, we're just gonna punch each other, boxing.
Yep.
We're just gonna wrestle each other, wrestling. Street fight, someone can do anything. Someone else can come in, someone can throw something at you. There's no real value in street fighting, but there's tremendous value in martial arts. So the whole Joe Rogan, developing your human potential, challenging yourself, doing really difficult things that push yourself, you grow.
Have you ever felt fear going into a fight?
All the time, yeah.
How do you sort of like mentally, how do you get over that?
Your confidence comes from your preparation, If you like get up, have to do a set, you don't know what you're going to say, it's tricky. But if you've worked some things out before, you've got an update, you've got a general game plan, you train with good guys who are also competent, you've like rehearsed the situation.
I want to end on one point. Could you tell me about a story about maybe one of your most memorable fights, or one which was your toughest fight?
Right.
One of your craziest fights? What happened? Was it something like that?
Pretty. What's a good story that I'm not just bragging. I lost I went to the States to prepare for a pretty big tournament, the trials for the World Championships that was going to be held in Australia.
Yeah.
So generally to qualify for the World Championships you have to go to somewhere else in Asia, Kazakhstan, Singapore. So because the event was going to be held in Australia, I put that money that I would have put to traveling to the competition to traveling to get better training.
Yeah.
And I came back and it was like my second match against a very well-established veteran who had way more experience and skill and everything than I did. And I lost the match, but I realized it was more competitive, and I realized at the end of the day, you're not going to die. A lot of things you're afraid, but there's no real good reason for you to be terrified. Like most people couldn't get up and try an open mic. But what is the actual danger? It's scarier to text and drive. We all text and drive.
Yeah.
So it's like actually looking at what do you have to lose, what do you have to gain. And if there's something to gain, then you should. I mean, that's how you should make all your decisions, right? Be pragmatic, pros and cons. So I think that match, I was like, wow, okay, cool. This guy didn't just destroy me. Like I realized you're capable of more than I otherwise thought I would have been.